Welcome back. We are talking this morning about the latest atrocity by the terror group ISIS, a video of the British aid worker David Haines being executed. For the past few weeks here on Reliable Sources, I've been outspoken about the media's duty not to bang the drums of war, but instead to examine the instruments, to analyze the drum beating, and figure out why it's happening. Well, my next guest knows all about that. He's a friend of mine from the New York Times, Tim Marengo, who has been reporting on the Middle East for years. And when he came home to the U.S. for a little R&R last week, he told me, quote, "I was surprised that everybody on TV seemed to be freaked out about ISIS." This from a guy who's been writing about the rise of ISIS, and he thinks there should be more restraint on the part of the press. So I wanted to ask him, with Haines' death and with the killings of the American journalists Jim Foley and Steve Sotloff before that, how can we know what's really happening on the ground? You have been covering Iraq for years. Are you able to go to those areas controlled by ISIS?
Absolutely not. I mean, my Iraq story is one where I showed up at probably the best time of the last 10, 11 years, right in the beginning of 2010 when there was a lot of hope and the entire country was wide open to me. We could wake up in the morning and go to lunch in Fallujah if we wanted to, just because we wanted to. And now the country over time has slowly become more and more constricted in terms of where I can go. And so nowadays in places like Anbar province, or Mosul or other places where ISIS is in control, we have to rely on our stringers, which are people, Iraqis, who work in secret for us and tell us information. And then, you know, through our network of Iraqis that I know and that my colleagues know, we can, you know, call people and speak to people on the ground in those places. But of course, no, an American journalist cannot go there. That's an instant death sentence.
And when you say colleagues work in secret, that's because they fear for their lives. Is that right?
Absolutely. I mean, if these guys who do their job for us and have for 10, 11 years for us and other Western organizations, if the bad guys on the ground knew what they were doing, of course they would. Who knows what they would do.
Tell me how you approach situations that have resulted in kidnappings. These two journalists that were beheaded were freelancers. You're on staff at the New York Times. Does that provide you more security in some way?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we have a lot of support. Security advisors. We've had an infrastructure in Iraq for a long, long time that, with procedures and there's communications and people know when we're going to places. And so there's a lot of oversight and there's a lot of support. And so that's what we rely on. And of course, in the situations like with Foley and Sotloff, that's what I tell myself in my head, that we have the support. And so, that it wouldn't turn out like that for us.
Let me play a soundbite from Jim Foley's mother, Diane, in her interview with Anderson Cooper this week. Here it is.
As an American, I was embarrassed and appalled. I think our efforts to get Jim freed were an annoyance. Jim would have been saddened. Jim believed till the end that his country would come to their aid. We were just told to trust that he would be freed somehow, miraculously. And he wasn't, was he?
Since you're home visiting your folks, have you talked to them about the security risks that you face?
Not yet. I just got here, and I'm sure it might come up around the dinner table in the next few days. But so far, I've tried to keep it light.
I mean, I hate to even try to talk about these issues, but if you were to be kidnapped, if you were to be detained, even briefly, by one of these opposition groups, what would you want your family to do? Would you want them to be speaking out in public? Would you want them to be keeping quiet the way Sotloff's family did? Have you thought about that before?
I haven't thought about that specific question, but I think it would probably be more in the hands of the New York Times than my family, and I would defer to the experts. I honestly don't know what is better, whether to keep it quiet or to go public.
Tim Marengo of the New York Times, thanks for joining me this morning.
Thanks, Brian.